coming to you live and direct. It's Friday, and here I am. We cabalin'. You know we are cabalin'.
Cabal.
On-chain music cabal. Not only music, entertainment, art, fashion, experiences. We're all about the experiences, especially experiences surrounding music. Joined today with my friends GodCloud and Ric Tha Rula, coming
Yeah.
to you live today with a really hot topic or two. I'm going to pass the mic over to Ric, who's going to introduce himself. Take it away.
GM world. It's Rick from Hype 3ware, on-chain visionary, here to kind of share good vibes, learn a little bit, and end our week on the right foot. I'm joined by two other visionaries who are going to be expressing themselves just like I am, and we're just looking forward to get into it. This is a hot topic.
GC.
I thought I was going last. You got to introduce yourself.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, my name is Maxximillian, coming to you in the middle today. I am a singer, songwriter, music producer. I even do a little mastering when I have to. You know how it is. I'm a PreSonus Studio One power user. I have a heavy addiction to Waves audio plugins. So if you would like some type of marriage proposal, you should start talking to me about those things. Love those. I am building a game. You'll see me streaming live on Tuesdays with our friend Dope Stilo, as we'll be building our game side by side in Unity with a couple of other friends. Oh, yes, we promised you music, but there's going to be so much more. So, as you'll see, I'm a multi talented individual and I'm playing in all the fields. I've been making NFT art since 2021. You can find some of my latest art. My latest collection is called Pepavaggio, and the name comes from my first favorite painter who I ever discovered when I was a girl. It was the first painter where I saw the artwork and I said, "Who did this?" And the person said, "Oh, this is a Caravaggio." And so that's my first favorite painter that I discovered. I have another favorite painter too, but I took on this namesake for these new works that are inspired by Pepe and the Pepe community. So I hope you will check out the Pepavaggio collection. I'll be sure to share it later on in the show so you can check it out. So I have music that I share under Future, FUTR. I'll share those links as well. So music, animation, gaming, acting, it's all together, and that's all what I'm up to. So I'm so glad that you're spending some time with us today, and I look forward to sharing my insights and hearing your insights on this really hot topic. GodCloud, take it away.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? GodCloud here. First finger drummer on the Ethereum blockchain, and I think blockchain overall, multi-instrumentalist, play guitar, bass, keys, working on drum kit. That's my weakest thing right now. But anyway, currently the CTO for Malas Palabras Records and the voice of
Yo,
Wild Zero and Ground Zero professional wrestling. And what else do I do? Oh, go to godcloud.org to check out my website, get you some sample packs. I just updated some of them so you get some nasty ass 808s. I've made some gross 808s with Subtractor from Reason, and they are guaranteed to rattle yo a woody ho. So go check them out, godcloud.org. And new drop on drip.house/godcloud. Go check it all out.
Awesome. And I see we are joined by our friend Stilo. Stilo, you made it. We're so glad to see you
what
coming in
up?
fresh off the
What
stream.
up?
What
Yes,
up,
we're just
guys?
doing an
Yo,
introduction.
yo.
So, yeah, you're just in time to introduce yourself,
Oh,
Stilo.
perfect. Thank God. Yeah, my name's Stilo. I'm blessed to be collaborating with dope people like you guys. I do a super dope concert every Wednesday, every week at the same time at the same URL. So definitely check it out. Stilo.world or stiloworld.com.
Aw,
Thanks, guys.
nice. It's so good to see you. And don't forget, Stilo also has this really dope song called Bonita. So I would say definitely buy this track. And he didn't mention it today, but I'll tell you, Stilo, like myself, he loves games and he loves gamified assets. So, you have this music track. It might be a bit more than a song. That's all I'm going to say right now. might be a bit more than a song.
Ooh, cliffhanger, cliffhanger.
Yeah, well, we gotta put some little carrot sticks out. Got to put some carrot sticks out. So Stilo, I gotta let GodCloud catch you up, and we're gonna jump into this first topic. I can't wait to hear your opinion. So GodCloud, take it away.
For sure, for sure, for sure. So I'm gonna catch Stilo up, then I gotta go grab a charger because I forgot that my phone is dying.
Okay.
But before we do that, so peep it, right? Artist named Super Sigil uncovered this situation that was unfolding on Sound XYZ.
Oh yeah, I
Have
saw
you
that.
saw that?
Oh,
Perfect. Then I don't got to catch you up, and I can go get
Oh,
my
dude,
charger.
we
But
knew
yeah,
this. We
I
knew
made a
this.
little reel about that, so we're gonna go into
Dude, I've
issues
been
surrounding
calling.
that and about that today.
Yeah, I never really told anyone like publicly, but I knew this because a lot of my friends were like idolizing the platform, and because of like what they appeared to be doing, and I knew when something's too good to be true, dude. 99% of the time, I don't know, dude.
you're
When
right.
something's a little like my mint sold out in 3 minutes, it's like,
What?
how is this happening, guys? But I already knew because I already knew that like it was a crypto thing, and then that would just lead into the music NFT space. So it was interesting seeing the back and. Did you read the thread and the back and forth a little bit? Because
I did.
they both had good points, but at the same time it was like clearly the one way.
I'm sorry. I don't think there was a good point on Coop's side. I'm
Well,
gonna
yeah,
be honest. I'm gonna
he.
be honest.
I like
And
the.
it's nothing
Well,
personal against him
well,
because
he put money in people's pockets. That's the
okay,
one. That's the
but
thing. That's the one
this
thing I'll say.
okay, and there's a way to do things and there's a way that's to do things that's better.
Hmm.
And I'm definitely not throwing any shade, and it's definitely not anything personal against Coop, but I feel like fake record sales are
Yes.
wrong. Fake record sales are wrong. Fake comments are also wrong.
Yes.
There
Fake
is a way
everything.
there is a way to support artists with money, but that's not the way to do it
Right.
because that
Right.
is disingenuous. It builds false confidence. Don't it makes me wonder like I heard this story when I was probably when I was about 13. It was the first time that some adult, nobody in my family, but some adult told me this story about this boy whose dad paid the other team to let and help his son feel like he won the game.
Hmm.
And in
Hmm.
this parable, right? I'm sure, right? And in this parable, the kid, when he finds out that actually that day, and then and this story has been told so many times, but what I notice is every time the story comes to me, it's come to me in my life like 3 times. The storyteller has always changed the elements in the story a little bit, and each time is valuable. But let me illustrate for everyone why I say what I say, because it's strong words. I don't usually come out and criticize anyone, but I am this time. And the reason is because I am. Hey, you know what? I'm bringing that smoke. I got my pipe out. I got my pipe out, and I'm bringing the smoke. Okay. This is the
Me
story.
too.
Because this is the story. This kid's dad paid the opposing team, the coach, everyone, and also paid his own team. Everyone got paid so that this kid could have like this last game day and have like a big victorious game. And it all went a success. And the kid hit the thing and ran the runs, and everyone celebrated. Years later, the kid finds out that his dad actually paid all the teammates and everything to make his most happiest day of his life, and it it did it really hurt the guy because he's a grown up now, because he lived all those, think of all the times he told that story, all the glory he was reveling, to find out that actually it was false and that he had been the butt of a joke because everybody else knew that they were letting him win. So that's like the one story where they say the guy finds out many years later when he's an adult, and how it's almost as though it stole all those years that he thought he was a good player. It just devastated him to find out that it actually wasn't the truth. The other time I heard the story is the kid finds out like later that same day ish, right? And then he's really angry, feeling resentful toward his father, and also hurt because it's like, you didn't believe that I actually could play well on my own merit. So what I'm saying is that however well intentioned an action may be, and however appropriate, the execution matters a lot. And so I feel like in this situation, to have all this money and to be in a position where you are the head of a record label, the better thing to do for everyone, not only today, but also for the mental well-being of the artist, and so that the artist can hold their head high, would be to be transparent and be like, hey, I'm going to give you this $5,000. I'm giving you this money to sustain yourself. I'm investing in you as the head of this record label. I'm investing in you. Think of this like your salary. I'm going to help you figure out how we're going to sell your records. But until I do, please take this $5,000 every month, or however often I'm going to give it to you, or whatever. This would have been respectable. But to instead use the money to directly buy the albums and then go on public channels and brag about the high record sales is disingenuous. And it's embarrassing for the artist.
You know, as you were telling that story, not to interject, but check this out.
Please.
As you were telling that story, did the artist know?
No.
Because that could be crushing to that.
Well,
see who gets hurt in that scenario?
Well,
Potentially the artist.
I think the artist knows, like deep down, like come on, they're like, where are these people coming from? And then they know that the platform just does it. Like they know that they're next up to bat. You know what I mean? Like they know, they're like, they don't know, maybe they don't know exactly from where or how,
right?
But they know there's
they
a
know.
machine.
Gotcha.
And and I honestly think that there's actually another platform that did. I think a lot of these platforms did this stuff. Like I think a lot. And there was like another big core group that did it. I think whenever they would just drop stuff, it would just magically poof. It was very interesting. I don't know. I even see NFT projects, doing that in the Discord. Like they have it on as a notification, like, oh, this NFT just sold as for this much. But I'm like, ain't nobody flipping this right now. It's probably telling to each other type of bot to notify to add FOMO. You know what I mean? It's a bot thing, and the same thing's happening with these Twitter spaces. I'll hop in a Twitter space with 300 people in there. And I'm like, why is there only 3 speakers? And there's like 300 people. And then I go down to the bottom and you click on the profile and it's all like the same type of handle, like 0xg6, like blah, 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 D498 with like 1 follower, and I'm like, oh my God. Now they're botting the space so you go in and you think it's a big company. It's like so bad.
You know what is interesting is I did a space and this gal came into our space. I was hosting or co-hosting, and this gal came into our space with a shitload of bots. And I know it was her because she came in there, and then all of a sudden there was like the whole lower half of the room started just spitfiring emoji every time.
well, sometimes they raid. There's actually big raids that happen. I've seen it happen, and it's real. But
no, this was a bot raid. That's what I'm trying to say is the bots arrive. So it's like the bots are attached to her account. So she goes in the room, all the bots show up, and so it looks like her crew done rolled up in there.
Like, don't nobody like you like
that.
Oh
my God. Rico, come on, man.
That's wild, bro.
I look at that. Damn! I would have had some bots every time I start talking. The bots just go fire, hearts and fire. But at first I said, damn, who's this bitch? Her friends roll up in here deep, and I was like, oh, these are bots. Get out of here with your bots.
Explains a lot.
I never understood the bot thing. I would always say that like paying for likes or having a bunch of bots following you is like buying a bunch of blow up dolls and then saying that your relationship status is complicated on Facebook. It's like, what? Like, who do you think we're
Bro,
fooling?
I'm
Like,
not
we
a
can
one woman
tell.
man, bro. I'm not a
Yeah.
one woman man,
Right,
dog.
right,
Like,
right,
Ah, no Diddy, no Diddy.
right.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Complicated.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
We
that
can
was
use.
gold, dog.
wow.
So I mean, so what's the so let's have a temp check, right? Because I might be in a position where I might get a whole big chunk of cheddar to support the artists that are signed to my label. So might you, Stilo, or you, GodCloud, and Rick, you might get a chunk of cheddar to invest in a project of artists that you decide if you decide to do something. So if we were to be in a position where it was like the onus was upon us to introduce, new brands. Because I mean, in a way, I kind of feel like that's what each artist is a brand, whether it's music or whatever it is. We're representing brands ourselves or another. But how would you want to, or how do we feel it's appropriate and helpful to be in this position where maybe the record sales aren't there, but how do we do this in a way that's not so disingenuous? Like, how would you like to see this happening going forward? Because there's other people out there with deep pockets that want to start record labels or music things. How would you like to see this happen?
Well, if I had a budget, I would be. I don't know. I feel like I've had a lot of experience. Like, I almost feel like I've had two labels just because of like the first like thing I did was like a 10 year, 12 year span. It was like 12, 15 different people, and everyone would just always come through every year, and it would just be this beautiful cycle. And it was for the love and the passion. And we took it to the stage, and it was dope. We killed it, but like we were just going uphill fighting
Mm,
social media, and
mm,
here we are trying to be organic. So, uh, but then now the second round was like with the Web3 and everything like that. That like we really like did everything together. We ran like a crew. It was cool. Now here we go, round three. For me, I think like really everything has to just have value. There has to be an exchange. Everything has to be exchanged. Like you can't like Maxximillian earlier. You were saying like you give an artist 5,000. You can't just give an artist $5,000.
I
Like
said a
that.
month.
Oh no, I know. Like no, I mean no. In general, like even if you gave him $5,000 in general, like for 6 months, like
Mm?
that thing would it would just be gone in like so fast.
No,
You know?
no.
But
Well,
hold on.
oh.
I'm not saying like that. I'm just saying like it's hard to budget and do everything and like be efficient and like it's like how much value does a music video? What how much
Mm,
value is this? How much value is my time on this? It's very it's very interesting the value of everything, music
mm,
videos and everything. It's all changing as technology changes. So for me, it's like
mm,
everything has to have like the best value exchange possible, and uh, in that. So for me, it would be like agreeing together and like doing the research together and being like, okay, so for like this first, like this third of it, we should put here. Do you agree? What do you think? And we should go back and forth with it with opinions and have a great strategy and goals. And
A
then
and R.
yeah,
You're
hmm
that guy.
hmm
I don't think these artists got that, to be honest with you, Stilo. I don't think these artists were
we
treated that
all
kind of treatment.
we all need it. We all need humans like to reflect on. Like I love talking to Rick in the morning about projects. I love that I can text him about Unity and like, hey, what's up? What's this? And he's like, oh, this. Or this or that. And it's nice. That's what Web3 is all about. This is about right here.
True.
So, Stilo, your feeling is so because like my suggestion about like saying like here's $5,000 a month, right? that's kind of like a universal basic income idea. Like, just like how else can we take care of ourselves? How else can we take care of each other? What other models can we come up with that makes sense?
Mhm.
This kind of how do we want this thing to go? Because I don't think that artists can live off of record sales alone anymore.
Mhm.
I don't think ever really they could exactly, but especially now. Some people, I feel like they're already grandfathered in. People that, um, that have been doing it for a while, but anyone getting in now to the game, I think got to come up with something new. What are your thoughts on any of this or anything surrounding it, Rick? GodCloud?
Um, I'll chime in. As you were giving us that little
My parable?
yeah, your parable there. I thought about how different the experience is when the person getting the benefit knows about it. Like, here's what I mean by that. Do you guys remember the show on MTV called Sweet
Mm,
16? It was
Yeah.
like
no.
the premise was like, you were the kid of some famous person or a rich person, and you were turning 16, and they were going to throw like this big bash for you. And it's basically the party of your dreams, right? You can have all no expense spared, like the dopest location, your favorite artist, your friends get like whatever they want, crazy shopping, like total fantasy. But I remember that show, watching it, and now that I'm a lot more mature, I'm not into that. But at the time, I'm like, yo, that would be the dopest ever. Like, if I could just have that, right? And so I would imagine that the person that got that treatment, the people that were on the show, remember that experience fondly because they knew who was actually doing it, right? It
Mm,
meant something because they knew it was my dad or it was my mom or it was my family, and they thought I was that special. And they're putting on this whole show for me in front of the world that I'm just that freaking dope, that they want to do this. All expenses, no expense spared. Whereas the parable you shared, that guy's life went like south when he found out, right? So coming back to why I asked about the artist, when you are getting something like that and it's not organic, it's not genuine, if you don't know or you don't, well, how would I put it? It's not as effective. It doesn't really end up giving you success. If anything, it brings the opposite. So I almost feel like it defeats the purpose. And to kind of tell what I would do, I would try to use the model Nipsey did. You guys remember where he had like an album that was like $100, and I can't remember if it was Jay-Z or someone came in and bought it, right? I feel like that's a sick marketing tool to
Mhm.
actually tell everyone, hey, I like that artist so much, I just bought the whole project, and now I'm going to give it away for free, and I'm going to gamify it, right? Because I believe in this project that much. This music is that dope. Come on this journey with me, right? So I would turn it into an experience that's exclusive where you can't buy that track. I own all of them, right? And now you have to do this thing that I'm going to take you on this journey to get it, right? And that brings visibility to the artist, that brings a good experience for the people buying it. I feel that's why I said it's a missed opportunity, because when you get all that attention, you can do some really cool ish, right? You can get
yeah,
people engaged on a whole other level.
yeah, absolutely. Mm, yeah,
Attaboy.
that would have been really good to see. I'm just checking out for GodCloud here. Let's see, where is he at? Um,
Ain't nobody
yeah,
slicker than Rick.
no, no. Interesting topic. Hmm. Um, hmm.
It's the not being straight up. It's the misrepresentation. If there is, I don't know the whole detail,
Yeah, it was
but
a
it's
misrepresentation.
it's
It it
it's
it
the go
it,
ahead.
it
I'm
was m-
sorry.
it, it was misrepresentation because there were fake listener accounts that were leaving comments on that didn't make sense.
Right. Yeah,
So
I guess the key is to define what success looks like for you, right? And if
yeah.
it's selling and making some money, then all things are justified to do that. And I
Is
think
it
that
so?
well, if that's your focus, right? If you set out, you're like, I'm doing this for some money, I think that's where
Yeah.
it gains dangerous because then anything's acceptable if you get the money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if you're like, I want to put something good out in the world, or I want to have an impact, or I want to put my friends on, or whatever your rationale for doing this is, if it's solely like, yo, I want to make some bread, then yeah, it's bound to get dangerous. Cause like I said, like what's your limit then?
What is the limit? So that brings us to as a perfect segue, Rick. I love when you come in on the show with us. So the question now becomes, what are appropriate metrics for our success? So like maybe it's not record sales as a whole. So here's like some examples, right? So like is success measured by how fast people buy your album? Is success measured by increasing? So here's one way I might measure success. If the second week my album is out has more sales than the first, success.
Mhm.
If the third week has more sales than the second, success. Now, this is a different way to look at success, especially in the music industry. In the music and the movie industry, a lot of times people want to look at just what? That first box office week. But that doesn't make sense for us because everyone doesn't hear about your song at the same time. It's like something that grows. So like this is like these are just like some ideas. So I'm asking and putting it out to the room. What are some metrics, not only in music, but thinking about like our penchant for things being on chain. What are some metrics of success that us and we and other artists might consider?
I mean, for me, analytics, the way I move, if the analytics are going up too, I want to make sure, analytics for me are just like so true. It's like I didn't do anything this day. I did something this day. But now I'm doing things where I just am naturally doing what I'm wanting to do, and things are going up. So that is like success for me. Where it doesn't feel like I have to show up somewhere and do something. It's like, okay, it's time for this Monday. I get to create content and interview somebody, and then I get to post it on Tuesday, and that's great replay. And then Wednesday is the concert, and then Thursday is the content from the concert. And oh, it's Friday, another interview, and it's fun, and it just keeps bouncing, and everything's. And now I'm like, it's just another level.
Nice. Nice. Love that.
What about you, Rick?
No, I love that, man. I love that. Um, I'm very similar, very similar. I love analytics because there's no political thing in there. It's just data, right? And I can
Mm.
understand it. But I've been talking and thinking about that for most of the week, Stilo. And, I'm going to simplify because I don't want to be long winded. I want to be authentic. If
Mm.
what you're doing is authentic, like that's me, you see it and you think to yourself, man, that's me. Like that's really authentic.
Yeah.
Is it helping me find my audience? Like when I put this out, and that could be defined in a number of ways, right? If I put this out, will it help me understand who I'm looking to find, who I'm
Mm.
looking to connect with, right? And if it did, like, man, I got a few people that I really think F with me. Like that might be a way. And then third, can I do this for a living? Can I live the life I want to live doing this? And that's where the monetary stuff comes in, right? Is
Mm.
because I'm being authentic. That's dope. I'm connecting with my audience. That's really dope. But can I sustain the lifestyle or take care of myself and my family doing this? I think if you hit the trifecta, like you made a little money, you found your audience, and you can see yourself, you're like, that's me, that's my ish. I'm starting to feel like maybe that's success, but I struggle with that every single day.
What's the part that you struggle with?
sticking to my definition, not
Oh.
listening to the noise. Like I just defined it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to say that. It's hella hard to actually stick to your guns when stuff happens and it doesn't land the way you'd want it to.
Well, what's the counter? And you redirect me if I'm in the wrong direction, but I feel like we're talking about like a self-talk, right? So when things are not moving in the direction that you envision, what's the self-talk that comes up, and how do you? That's what I'm envision when you say
Mhm.
that it's a struggle. Is that maybe there's some other voice that comes into play that
Yeah.
has a
No,
contrary opinion?
it is a self-talk. It is a self-talk. I think
What is
for
the other voice
most
be
of
talking
us.
about? Come on.
Yeah.
Tell us what it said. Tell us what
Yeah.
it said.
No, like man, you timing's off. Man, it wasn't right. It wasn't all the way right. You knew it because you know you have that perfectionist thing, right? Um man, I'm not explaining it right. Man,
Mm,
it's not worth it, right? And
mm.
then you reconnect with why you're doing it, and then you're like, okay, is it authentic? And that's kind of how I walk myself back from the plank. But if you're really being vulnerable in your art and what you're trying to create, I feel like that internal struggle, I don't know if it goes away. I've yet to meet like a really good artist that doesn't have some kind of like weird turmoil going on in there.
Hmm. I always feel like living well is like the filter through which we see our success.
Mm.
Like, I feel like when we're able to do the things that we want to do in life, even if it's just for a little while, when we're in a place where we are doing those things, even if it's just 1 week long, uh, is like, I think when we feel like the most optimistic, maybe when we feel the most separate from limitations.
Hmm.
Um, for myself, when I think about success and what that looks like, and here's GodCloud. Um, just
Yeah.
going back to what Stilo and I are building, and also with you, Rick, because our merchandise is built into our metaverse spaces, you know, and so I'm looking at metrics in terms of like impact. So I haven't figured out exactly how to measure it, but here's a story from my acting times, right? I don't have to do this anymore, but there was a time when I did, where I used to send out like, I used to do like reach outs to like different casting directors and mostly casting directors, because you have to let bitches know that you're alive or else they'll never call you. You know what I mean? You can't let your agents and managers do all the work. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I used to keep track. I had a spreadsheet, and I would keep track of every single casting director that I would reach out to, and I had a whole list. I would send postcards, and make sure that I didn't send too many or whatever. And I would call that my outflow. And I had a number, a 63 outflow, or 54, or 33, whatever it was. And I had a chart, a fucking graph. Okay, and I would look at what the line was doing on the graph. And if the line went a certain direction, then I had a little key. This little key would say if the line, it's just like day trading. Right?
Mm.
If the line is going straight up, okay, that means that I'm supposed to send out more outflow. If the line is straight across, then it means, there is a different formula to manipulate the next output, and I'm in charge of the action that manipulates the output. So for example, if I send out 63 outflows this week, and then next week I send 50, I know the line is going to go down. So I could also manufacture sending 72 and put the line upward. And I used to do this. If I had 800 contacts, I didn't start off my first week sending to all 800 people. I would never be able to increase my outflow
Mm.
over time. So like I had to really think about this, It's kind of like a party. Go to a party, there might be 800 people there. Can you talk to all of them at the same time? It's not going to be a good user experience if everyone's trying to talk to you at the same time. And it's kind of like the same with outflow. So I say all this to say that like we can not only look at statistics and see how well did this action or that action perform once we get enough data points, right? But we could also use our actions to predetermine what the data is going to look like, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I think a lot about these things, and I would love to hear like how could we use the data that we collect to actually do something. So like Stilo, what kind of metrics do you get from your spatial? Um, what kind of metrics do they share with you about your visitors?
Just it's in order to get like real detailed stuff in the spatial studio, you have to like own the Unity space and upload it, and, and I only have one of those, so that like I don't have the best data from there. I just kind of get like the visitors, how many people have come, and like how many people have liked the space. So I've definitely
Okay.
had like a lot of visitors, a lot of visitors. Can't remember right now, but it's maybe like 50,000 visitors, But I've probably performed for like 100,000 people in the metaverse, like throughout 3 years, you know. Um, but for me, it's I'm really heavy on other platforms like LinkedIn. Like for me, I'm really looking at LinkedIn and like what's happening right there. How that is kind of like my. I didn't really care as much until lately, but LinkedIn is definitely like my goal, and YouTube subscribers. Like if that, when I see those like uh, doing well, those are good indicators for me.
Okay. So like one of the metrics that I would measure for myself with my game world environment is I'm going to be monitoring time. How much time do people spend in my space? And so for me, my metrics will be I'm gonna focus on instead of looking at numbers, and this is why I'm gonna be in a good mood. So and I feel sad for the rest of the people who don't do this, but I look only at growth. I'm not going to look at all at numbers because the numbers I think are the wrong focus. It's more about growth. So what I'm going to be looking at is what's my percentage of growth between the first and second week? What's my percentage of growth between the third and fourth week? So on like this, as opposed to looking at the numbers, how many people came. If I always measure growth, then even as the numbers get larger, I can still measure that same growth because I'm measuring in percentages, you know. Uh, yeah, because sometimes something might happen to catapult you into a new number set. I might start off at like 20 or 30, but what if I get on Good Morning America and now many more people are coming? I still need to be able to measure my growth. But if I'm doing it in percentages, I think it's just better. But also, time spent is important because that's how the other companies decide how valuable we are. Like YouTube, they care about how much time are people spending on your content.
Great one, Max.
Mm.
Rick, Rick, and he's like, ooh,
Yeah, I'm like, wow,
mm.
that's really sick. That's sick.
Dude,
Yeah.
Um,
can I play this
Just,
while we're talking?
huh?
Can I play my screen while we're talking?
Yes, of course. You should have controls. Are you able to
Yeah,
press H?
yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can help at
Cool.
all.
I got it. I got it. I think I
Okay.
got it. Right.
Yeah, let me turn this on.
I hope
Boom.
it. I hope it doesn't take too much like of a.
No, let's
yeah.
go. Come on, show us what you've been working on, Stilo.
Dude. So I thought it automatically saved. I didn't save.
Yeah,
Damn.
it does. It does.
It
It
does.
automatically, yeah, man. So you
Um.
have to kind of keep exporting your package so that you actually have a save. Go under assets instead. Yep. And then go to export package. Yep.
But this is the package that I didn't want.
Oh, so you want to go
I
back? Did you close this window? If you didn't close it, you should be able to
because it was
what's the
last. It was
undo look under your undo history and back out of this and
it,
go
it,
back.
it was last night. Like I shut down the computer and everything.
Oh yeah, it
It's all
automatically
gone, huh?
saves. Yeah, it automatically saves.
Oh, it does?
Bro, that's happened to me so many times. Yeah,
So it does save or it doesn't?
it does. It automatically saves whatever you were doing last.
I wonder where it is. Okay, maybe, okay, let me open it again. Let me try again. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the conversation.
No, it's
You're
okay.
good.
Go ahead and find it, and I'll bring the screen back as soon as you're ready. Let me know. I just want to give you some privacy as you look for your file.
Okay, yeah, don't worry
Yeah, yeah.
about it. Oh, yeah.
GodCloud, while you were gone, you didn't GodCloud. Oh, I don't know. Can you hear us,
I'm still
GodCloud?
here. Yes, I'm still
Oh,
here. I'm
okay.
sorry.
While you were gone, we were each sharing like how we would disseminate if we were in the position where we had a bankroll, right? And
Yes,
it was
yes.
within our power, and the expectation was for us, the onus was upon us to introduce new brands or new artists. How would you like to see it done? Since we didn't love the way that we saw this happening, the lack of transparency and seemingly blatant disingenuousness in creating users that don't exist, leaving comments that don't make sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Leaving comments that don't make sense. Ain't that about a bitch?
That was really what hurt the most.
No,
We don't
for
mind the
real.
bots. It was the nonsensical. Don't let everybody. You just showed everybody that I don't
Hmm.
actually have any fans.
Yeah,
You just embarrassed me, Dad.
for real.
Dad, you just embarrassed me.
And the worst thing I tell you is getting that dopamine hit from seeing you got a notification and then seeing that it's a bot. That'd give a motherfucker heartbreak fever in a minute, yo. And they don't got nothing on the shelves to deal with heartbreak fever quite yet.
I
But
know.
but but what I will say
On
to
the
get back on
shelves
the task, there's nothing on the shelf. Well, maybe at the liquor store, but
at
that
the
doesn't
liquor
work.
store.
But then you just get a headache. The heartbreak fever gives you the liquor gives you a headache, and it's a whole thing. Now you got heartbreak
Oh
fever
my
and a headache.
God. You made me
Um,
glitch out. That's hilarious.
but
Mm.
yeah, so peep it, right? I always think about what we were, doing with Malas, right? Like we had artists, and eventually we would find out that their fans weren't really feeling the Web3 thing. But what we did was we kind of built a situation so that they could, give out some free NFTs, essentially. You know what I mean? And we also allocated funds to like get them into good opportunities that would help lead to, building strong optics. You know what I mean? So I think if I've got some dough, I'm gonna say, hey, listen, we're gonna build this thing so you can put yourself in it. Do what you feel you can do with this. Also, we've got some people, which was me, that'll help you think of cool shit to do with your social media. You know, we're gonna spend some money to make you look cool over here, and hopefully, if it all works, then we can generate more money together with the releases, with the shows, with the merch, with whatever we want to do. You know what I mean? And I can say that this, even prior to me joining the label for myself, when the last band that I was in, I didn't like, and I'm gonna be straight up, like I don't really think I've ever told anybody this, but I didn't like that we had to pay for magazine articles and shit, and and I guess that was like the standard for metal bands back then. They were like, yo, like GodCloud, you need some skinny jeans. I'm like, they too tight. I don't want to wear them. They're like, yo, just get you some fucking skinny jeans. Like, yo, we all gotta wear skinnies. So even after I spent a bunch of money on fucking skinny jeans that I can't fit anymore, we then had to figure, like, all right, now let's pay for these magazine articles. Like, what are we gonna get? A whole page, a half a page? Like what, And when I got out of that band, because I ended up getting fired, so I got into it with the singer, but whatever. But I'm like, I don't ever want to have to pay. I want to earn shit. Like I want to figure out different ways to make like partnerships that don't end after they run my article. You know what I'm saying? Because I always thought
Mm.
that would be it. And I still to this day brag like, yeah, I was in Revolver and Alt Press, but it doesn't feel as genuine as when fucking XLN shares me using their product on their Instagram, or when Reason reaches out to me and they're like, hey, we love your shit, come rock with us. So with that being said, I took my money, bought equipment, had my talent ready to go, used my talent with the equipment and was like, hey, equipment maker, look at me.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, dope. We love that. We love that you're doing that. There was no, and when I say there was no like money exchange, like I didn't pay them to share me. Granted, I had to pay for the gear, but it's a longer relationship than, oh yeah, you bought our guitar, thanks, dude. It's like, yo, we know you, we like what you do with our stuff. We're gonna hit you up anytime we're doing something new. And
That's
that's
really
how,
cool.
yeah, and that's how I would, if I had money, that's what I would try to help artists understand and do. So that was
That's
a lot of stuff,
amazing.
but yeah.
Yes, yes,
No, that's
that
amazing.
is. That is GodCloud. I love what you just shared. And it connects with you didn't catch what I was saying earlier, but finding your audience, right? Like you did
Yes.
something where you actually found people that connect with what you do. And when you find that person or that group, they see your stuff as like the best, and that's a real like flow, right? Where they're like, yo, I love it. You're like, I love making it. And it's just a big geek out. But I'm about to leave. I hate to go, but I have to run. I love this conversation. Always a vibe. Maxximillian, GodCloud. This is a great platform, and I love sharing my thoughts here. It feels safe.
Yes. Love to see you. Love to see you. I'll make sure to flash your codes at the end of the show, but it's always wonderful to have you stopping by and hope to see you again.
Most deaf, most deaf. If I could
Great.
chill for just 2 seconds,
Please
I am
do.
building. I am building a metaverse called Hype Three
Ah,
Verse. It's going to be focused around fashion, digital fashion, and flexing and expressing yourself that way in the metaverse with your avatar. So look out for that. It will have
ooh.
all 4 seasons. That's all I'm going to say as far as a little clue for what's coming. Yeah, peep
Hype
peep my Twitter.
Reavers.
There's little previews on my Twitter, little nuggets. So peep.
Okay, well, can you tell us how to spell it? So just in case.
Of course. HYPE3VERSE.
Hype
Hype 3
3.
verse.
Dig
You
Now,
know,
it.
people in Web3, we like to spell things different. That's why I always have
Yeah.
to ask. And is it a dot?
it's gonna be on Spatial. I will
Oh,
have it
okay.
on my website, hype3wear.com or hype3wear.art is my current website where you can get your digital slash IRL merch. But the metaverse will be kind of showcasing the merch, but more importantly, educating and entertaining so that there's some value beyond just buying cool stuff to wear, but learning and hanging out with friends.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everyone will please go check out Rick's high-tech sustainable merchandise. And looking forward to your metaverse. So is it going to be live next Friday or still more time?
We're about 2 weeks away. I've
Okay.
been dropping like little previews on Twitter, and then we'll have a big powwow when it's released. It will involve giveaways that are both digital and in real world, so you'll get some real world drip. So yeah, come by, check it out, and maybe earn something from Web3 you can carry and show your friends.
That will be so fun. Well, maybe when you're ready, maybe you'll come back and we can do a deep dive and look at it all together. That'd
No
be really
doubt, no
fun.
doubt. That's a bet. That's a bet.
Yeah. All right.
All
So
right.
always good to see you.
Same. Peace and love, everyone.
Later, brother. Peace, peace.
Peace. Yeah. Well,
Yo,
all of our nice friends have gone, so we can start with the trash talk.
let's go. Time to talk that shit.
Right? I know. Hey, it's important to say these things because otherwise, people start thinking that their thinking is wrong. I had
Yeah,
this problem,
that's true.
Yeah, it's real talk. When I was on the Purple app, I love Warpcast
Mhm.
so much. That's where all the developers and engineers hang out. And over there, uh, there's a lot. Sometimes it gets a little bit raw about um, things that actually are not innovations. And uh, I'm like not down with overemphasizing the usefulness of something. If it's, you know what I mean, you didn't reinvent the wheel, you know. So, or like when people say how something's so important. Is it? Is it so
Sure.
important to every, so I, as much as like I'm a real rah, 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 but where it's due, where it's due. And so that's why this really has bothered me because it's like all that rah, 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 and it was fake.
Yeah. Right. Right. And and you know what fucking trips me out is that when I was like 2 years or so ago, when I was at my kid's mom's parents' house, one of their friends mentioned Coop to me. They were like, "Oh, you're in crypto, so you know so and so," and I'm like, "Well, I don't know him, no, but I know of him." So the fact that he's kind of when I brought up like, "Oh, I make music NFTs," and then he gets brought up too, you know, like I can tell you, I don't got one fake fucking sale, not one. Like I haven't. I just honestly, I just never thought to do it. I probably should have. I probably should have just
You know,
faked it all.
you know what? It's like this. Think about, so just for reminding, for friends who don't know, let me just share everyone a little receipt. My very first job, I was still in school, had to leave school a little early. My very first job was at a record label, okay? Assistant to the director of A&R. So I have had real music industry experience, and I've seen firsthand some of the problems that happen over there, and also the way that we have done business over there for a long time. Over there, I mean the traditional music industry. And when you look at a record label budget back before, when they were still pressing music on any format, whether it's a CD or like whatever, like, there's still like people still actually are making formatted stuff, right? Because they have to have stuff to give away, right? Even if now the format has changed and maybe now people just print a flyer or a postcard and there's a QR code that takes you to the song, it's still a printed material, is my
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
And on that printed material, that one QR code has the value equivalent to one album or one CD, because every single digital item, and this is where blockchain makes it so interesting, right? So, like when you have a physical CD, not that we're ever going back to that, but when you have a physical, when you have a physical item of any kind, it is it's this one thing, and it's limited, is my point. So in a record label budget, when I would look at the budget, there's a certain number of records or printed materials that each represent a record that they budget for because they have to pay for it. Whether it's a postcard or a CD or an album, each one of those printed things costs money that the record label has to pay for, to hand it out or to give to the record store or to ship to Amazon or whatever. And there's a certain number of those printed materials that's allocated to be given away.
Mhm.
I've seen the budgets. It is on every album.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the equivalent of Coop buying all those records. It's like, but in the way the record label do it is like, as the artist, you know who's paying for that? Me.
Right.
But in this instance, Coop paid for it's like the advance, right? But the only
Sure.
problem is that instead of like, because I guess what I'm trying to, my whole point is that there's always fake record sales built in. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. 1,000%. But it's like I feel like he went out of his way to make it be sketchy. It could have been. It could have
Why?
been. It could have been
Why?
just
Why, Coop?
like
Why?
traditionally amoral, which we're all like, okay, used to that. All right. But then he took it like a step further. You know what I mean? It's
The
like,
comments.
yeah,
It was
it's
the
all
comments.
the comment. Like I when I close my eyes, I see it. That's all I see when I close my eyes. I swear to God.
Oh no,
That's all.
that's
Like
the worst part. I
you
keep
can't see it,
hearing
but I
this.
can see it.
I can see it too. I see the comment. The comment that says, "Oh, this melody, it keeps playing in my head." It's like it may, it's like it's like, don't take me on a first date and then talk to me about how you want to get married and all this other kind of stuff if you just want to fuck me tonight.
Yeah. Right.
Because maybe that's enough. And why have you wasted 6 hours of time that we could have been enjoying ourselves, talking about other stuff with lies?
Right. Like, why
Ah!
even? That's like the insult to the injury, yo. That, like, and the whole thing too with. So I know that back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean like a few years ago, everybody's like, "What does a Web3 record label do?" You know,
Yeah.
and I
What
remember,
indeed?
I remember saying there. I don't mind there potentially being Web3 record labels, but it's got to do more than just put your stuff on OpenSea at the time. Like, it's got to do more than that. It's
Yeah.
got to be like, hey, you know, and it so, and with Mala, how we really started out was we, you know, partner up with these with you know, with these people, and we're like, hey, why don't we use the blockchain to take care of some of the back end stuff? That's how we were like, oh, well, that could be how we're a Web3 record label. We're going to use this tech to take care of our back end. You know, that's what we were thinking. That's what I thought. That's what I envisioned. And I'm like, that'll
Yeah.
be cool. So now artists can kind of see what's going on when there's a sale made, you know, because we did the ticketing for our live events with that same stuff, and any royalties would go straight to the artist, go straight to their fucking wallet. They didn't have to talk to us and wait like, hey, when are we getting paid? You know? And I'm like, that's cool. I like that. That's a Web3 record label. But when you're just being like extra, like, yo, straight up. When you're just being fucking cringe on the blockchain, that ain't it. That ain't it. And that makes like, so now you've got these poor artists, you know, who I'm sure probably like had an inkling of what was going on, you know. Again, I'm just assuming, but
Okay, but yes, because I just to say, like, so I am on Warpcast, and that's where actually I first I do follow Coop on Twitter, on
mhm.
X, but mostly I see Coop on Warpcast because really my first interest was when I went to FarCon because he was spinning. And so, when you meet someone, it's just different when you get a chance to meet someone in person. We actually didn't get to talk though; he was busy DJing. But I saw his post. He did brag about how he's like, I just bought 1,000 of these or whatever. He wasn't trying to keep it a secret that he's, heavily invested in these artists. And I feel like that's really commendable. But the fake comments is troubling.
And not only that too, but the fake like, so okay, it's cool that he bought 1,000, but
But from
these
his
other
own account.
bots, yeah, right, that's
Yeah.
fine, but the other bots buying thousands too, I think that sends a negative, you know, connotation about what is going on here too, or not connotation, but yeah, a false like a false
Yes.
idea of what you could get, you know, of the success you could have here. Because
Absolutely.
I've been completely real with, you know, with how Web3 is and has been for me. I'm like, hey, I made
So
some good money in the fucking
I want you
beginning.
to, if you don't mind, how has
Yeah,
it been tell us, because everybody doesn't know. How has it been for you? And
yeah,
what
for
is good,
sure.
what's good money to you? Because some of my, everyone has a different idea of what's a lot of money.
Yeah, so peep it, and I do have to split in a few minutes, but so peep it. When I first got into Web3, I didn't get it, didn't understand it, but I ended up turning $25 into five figures. Okay, within like a month or two, you know?
Mm.
And I'm like, shit, okay, that's dope. And through some other stuff, to some other jobs I made. So I basically, with everything that I have done, like NFT sales, with partnerships, with doing consultations and all that stuff, and getting, you know, I don't want to call it royalties, but like
Why
just
don't you want to
getting
call it
just get
royalties?
Well, because it was just like I was getting my cut from my participation. So I guess that's just from me getting paid for doing like work, right? But it was because of how it was coming in. I would do a little bit here, do something there, do something there, and once things came around, I would get paid. So I probably made, lower six figures, I'd say. Lower six figures I made. Not quite $250,000, but I did okay. I did okay. And once the atmosphere changed, I was clear to tell people that. Like, hey, y'all might have seen me eat in Web3, but you see me back in Web3, just like how you were like, yo, you're selling your sample packs for cash. Like, hell yeah, they're for
Yeah,
cash.
that surprised
Yeah,
me. I was with
yeah,
my Ethereum. I was like,
yeah,
dollars? What are
yeah,
dollars, man? I don't have
yeah.
any of those.
No, because it just, there wasn't that many like projects that I felt that I could jump on. And plus, two people were just, putting out any old thing. And I was like, I don't see this doing numbers. I don't see this hitting it big. Even with me like pulling the strings I could pull. Like, I don't see this happening. Previous year, yes. Now, not so much. So I had to figure shit out. I had to do a pivot, So that's me telling people, hey, you're probably not going to get the success that I got in Web3 2001, 2021, 2022. That's probably not going to happen now. So for him to kind of set it up to look like that, that's
Yeah.
not cool. That's not being honest. That's not being transparent. And again, it's not helping anybody in the space because we're trying to get people to come here. But then what were the reasons that we were trying, that we all like kind of came here? It was like, oh, well, the
Money.
gatekeepers over there are over there. Well, yeah, money. Yes. Thing number one was
Yeah,
money,
because
but it
the
was
gatekeepers,
gonna
what they were keeping me from was the money. So
the money,
just
right? Yes. Fucking exactly. Fucking exactly. Way to put it so I don't gotta do this roundabout fucking thing. But yeah, like we're like, yo, we can get right to the money here. We can
right,
get right to it. The middleman's gone, the gatekeepers are gone. We can get right to the money here,
right.
And once that wasn't really happening because of the environment, for you to, not you, but for him to kind of come in and say, well, like, no, well, there's still money here, but you're doing that same fuck shit that they were doing that led us here. What are we going to tell people why we're here for now? If the shit that we said ain't happening over there, why we're here is happening over here now, So yeah, like that sounds like a roundabout shit, but that's part of the reason why I kind of took off for I'd say about like 8 months. I kind of dipped out and was just focusing on, GodCloud. I was like, I want to get back to just being GodCloud because I'm a lot smarter now. And if I was able to do all this shit that I did without a college education, without spending a bunch of money, without having like a bunch of money behind me, like now with me with a little money and a little more smarts, like what can I do? And that's when I was helping build the shit with Malas. But we're like, hey, let's try to get back into Web3 and fucking came back, But now what I'm seeing, now what I believe is if you tell your story, it's just like Rick was saying, you find the people you can bring value to, they'll fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, find the people you bring value to, they'll rock with you. But as soon as you start lying to people about the value that you bring to these bots, I guess, like, what are you saying? Like, what are you saying?
Well, let me ask you about that. So that's one of the questions I asked when you stepped away was, does it hurt? Is it hurting? That was a question because it's like, other than the humiliation, right? Like I was about going back to the parable of like, your dad paid the other team to lose so that you could win. Your dad paid all your teammates to let you have the ball so that you could make the scoring plays for the game. Aside from the humiliation of having to accept that other people had to fold so that you could be victorious, that other people agreed to lose so that you could win, there's not really any glory in that victory. That's a very Pyrrhic victory. So aside from the humiliation there, because to me that's humiliating, not that I did something, but that my record label head or my, business manager, whatever, uh, did not, that they either lacked the belief in me, lacked the belief in my product, or they lack the know-how to actually promote my music in a proper way. But the biggest thing is if that if this is thought to be enough, this is not enough. Like this is not uh it's not sustainable. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is like it's not sustainable. And I think that's like where the problem is that eventually that grant money is going to run out. And
And then what?
the artist has not still learned what makes a hit record, because if you're just using your pocket money to push an album into stardom, but you actually don't have or have not developed the know-how to actually sell records, this is a long honeymoon. And when it's over, there's not going to be a family.
Yeah. 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 And I think that overall it it doesn't make anybody look good. It makes us all kind of,
Look shady.
yeah, yeah, because I feel like it kills the magic of Web3, because I feel like the whole thing that kept people in Web3 was that you could hit that lottery, something could happen, you could drop something that just does it, and now boom, you're up there doing a thing. And when you see shit like, damn, like somebody just selling 1,000 music NFTs still, like, okay, bet, like, y'all said music NFTs were dead. No, they ain't.
Yeah, it gives us
Look
a
at
false
that.
sense. Yeah, it gives us a false sense of hope and a false sense of possibility and the false sense of
Yeah.
potential. And this is really dangerous because it's like more people are going to be wasting their time in that direction instead of actually figuring out how do we actually make the needle move. And I think that's a problem that everybody would like the solution to, but some people, I think they just they're willing to take good enough right now.
Yeah, and I really think there's some people who have done, really, really well, and then there's the people who are fine with just being adjacent to them, you know, and that and they feel like they're successful through proximity, and
Proximity
and
to a
the
project or
six
person?
like a person, like a successful person. Like I've seen a lot of people who are just, like co-hosts to the people who have sold,
Mm.
$1 million in music NFTs, and they're just like, hey, I'm with this person, so blah 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 blah, and they're fine with being sidekicks, and that's cool. And
Did they
I
get some
know,
sidekick money?
I don't think so. No, no, they're just cool with the clout. They're just cool with the proximity clout. That's a new fucking word. Proximity clout, yo. I'm
Hey, I say it
gonna
ain't no
use that
fun
in
if
a
the homies
rap.
can't have none. Proximity cloud, I don't know. I mean, proximity cloud can get you some proximity coochie, but that's about it.
That's true. That's true. Like, hey, I'm not. I ain't about to sit here and say that it's bad. But if that's all you aspire for, you know what I mean? Then like, no, like And if people are like, hey, yeah, I'm rocking with Coop, and this is what's happening, really all the payoff you're getting is proximity clout. And maybe that dough is going to them too. But then what's happening with that dough? Just like you said, are there any, and I do gotta split, I gotta get to the fucking mechanic called me, and I had to call him from the house phone. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm like, where's the house phone at? I'm like, hold on,
Oh,
it's behind the fax machine. Let me
oh my
take a
gosh.
fucking thing. Yeah. But yeah, yo, I just think, again, people need to start relying on their own merit. Get you a godcloud.org popping and start running your shit through that. That's because even and like I was saying too, with the last time we were talking, one of the last times we were talking, even with my stuff on Drip, I wanted to see people going further than Drip. I wanted to see them fucking with the socials, fucking with the website. I wanted to see them digging deeper. I wanted to see them be like, okay, this is great here, but where's more? Where's more of this story? Because I can only get part of this story on Friday. Where's more? You know? And some people, it's fine that they're doing it. They have Drip artists in their bio, but I'm like, no, like I'm fucking GodCloud. I'm not a Web3 artist, whatever. I'm not, you know, this, that, da 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 da. I'm me, and I want y'all to rock with that. So get people to rock with that. Fuck the sales, and don't. And who do people really say like, oh wow, this person sold a lot, so now I
Yeah,
like
they
them?
do. Let me tell. I know it's gross. It's so gross. I know you have to go, but tell you this one thing. I can tell you fast. Yes, people do that, and I'll tell you the last time it was said, and I was really hurt to hear it. And it was actually someone who I considered a friend of mine. And the conversation was such. We were talking about an upcoming event, talking about a crypto event, talking about hosting a crypto side event. And I was like, wow, there's so many talented musicians in your community. I can't wait to see them perform. And the person said to me, oh, well, I actually this time want to feature musicians that have record deals. It broke my heart to hear that. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, you only want to feature the, people that aren't independent. Like, so obviously this wasn't a music person who said this, right? But it just goes to show you, and this was actually an on-chain artist that made this comment. So that's why it was even more cringe to me, because it's like, you value sovereign for your own work, but when it comes to this event, you want the clout of people who've been signed to a label. And so that just goes to show you that there are clout chasers, and there are people who prefer the clout. They want the clout because they're trying to they're not interested in uplifting other artists who they think are dope. They're in a space instead what they're looking for proximity coochie.
yeah. Which again ain't bad. If you can
It's
get you some, but don't make it your whole way of getting coochie. Get some
that's what's
direct
up.
coochie.
Get some direct coochie. But yeah, it is somewhat of a thing, because people who are not in the business, they do look for metrics that they understand. And unfortunately, in the normie world, that's sales. That's the first thing that normies want to know. How much
Yeah,
money do you make a year? What kind of car do you drive? What neighborhood do you live in? It's all boils down to money. Even the whole record deal, I want to have artists perform who have record deals. What is that about? What is that really saying? It's saying, I want commercially viable artists. Why?
yeah.
Because you want to be seen like that. Not,
Right,
it had
right.
nothing to do with,
Exactly.
it was about clout. I call these people star fuckers. Sorry, friend,
Oh yeah.
but that's what it is. So, so it is important to people. And that's why this whole thing about fake record sales is hurtful, because it's not it's not a good indicator of somebody's talent. Just like a record deal is not a good indicator of a band's ability to entertain your crowd at your event.
Right, yeah. You're
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. I wish I could have been more in the condo today. So I wanted to say a bunch of stuff, but
That's okay. We could talk about it
yeah,
next week.
for sure. Next week. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, we
Let's
could talk
save it.
about it next week. Yeah, it's so good to see you, GodCloud, always. And so, do you have time to tell us what you got going on this week?
I mean, this week, not really too much going on. You know, Drip Drop is going to be live in an hour or two. I think it's going live at like 6 my time, so in about 2 hours or so. Working on some more music and whatnot. I got the Akai Force up on the table here. So
Oh my
I don't
gosh!
I
It's
don't
all
know
the
what
tiny
yeah.
buttons.
I don't know what it is about this thing, but it just like brings out like the fucking melody monster in me. Like it's like, hey, great melody. It's stuck in my head in the best way. No, that's what this thing just makes me make
Yes.
the best freaking melodic shit. I don't know why. Maybe it's all the buttons laid out and I just get down on it. But yeah, we're gonna be cooking with the Force. Um, Hopefully some new shit coming down the pipe by next week. Um, yeah, that's really it about now. So
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Same here. Same here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I look forward to seeing you. When's your next stream? Is on Tuesday?
Wednesday. Wednesday. Unless you want to do
Okay.
one on Tuesday, then we can
Yeah,
do
let
Tuesday. We'll do it in the car. Or I'll
okay,
be in the
that'd be
car. You
great.
can, yeah, you can be wherever you're at. I'll be in
And
the car.
I'll call an Uber and I'll be in the car too. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
right. Okay, perfect. Cool.
Yeah, so and we can chop up whatever, things that was on your mind you didn't get to say today. We can chop it up on Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing you.
All
Thanks for
right,
stopping
for
by.
sure. Peace, Maxximillian. Thanks for having me, yo.
Peace,
Much
yo.
love. Later.
Later. Well, friends, there you have it. Got all of our friends stopping by today. Well, not all of our friends, just some. But I'm grateful for all the visits always. Let's see if I can move around this spaceship here. Gonna just change the design. There we go. Well, I know that you could be anywhere, but you're spending some time with me, so I want to thank you. It's always wonderful spending time with you. I hope this conversation has been entertaining, if not enlightening. Hope it's been a bit of both. If you have some opinions or thoughts, though, things that we talked about, I welcome your opinions. Definitely leave your full comment. Go ahead and bring your salt. Go ahead and comment on the YouTube page underneath this episode. I do read the comments and not the salty ones, though, kidding. I do read the comments. And if you say something interesting, we can bring it up on the next show. If you'd like to join us for an episode, you can also say that in the comments and, reach out to me on X or any of the other places that you see. My online accounts are linked to my YouTube account. But we welcome. You see, I have some additional screen space. So we're always open to new guests. If you make music or you're an entrepreneur on chain and you already have products on chain, would love to get to know you. So definitely reach out. And thank you for joining me. You know we're Cabalin. It's Friday, and we are the On-Chain Cabal.